10 ways to start decentering men, to stop chasing male validation and choosing you. It's time to stop obsessing over them and start obsessing over you and your life. Not because you hate them, but because when you put other people like your partner as the main person in the center of your world, you're telling your anxious brain, I need them to be okay, and without them my world is falling apart. And this fuels your abandonment and unworthiness wound and sends the message to your anxious brain that you're not worthy of love unless someone else shows you that you are good enough, that you are worthy of love. This keeps you stuck in this anxious attachment cycle. No thanks. Hi, I'm Yula. I'm the Anxiously Secure coach, and welcome to the Anxiously Secure podcast. In today's episode, you will learn the 10 micro steps to decenter men in your romantic relationships, especially if you're an anxious, attached overthinker, feel deeply, and tend to lose yourself in relationships. Because I've been there and I've healed from this toxic cycle of chasing and accepting breadcrumbs. Disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or doctor. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It does not intend to diagnose, treat, or heal any mental health condition. If you're in an abusive relationship or dealing with severe mental health challenges, always seek professional advice. FYI, if you're a guy listening, hold on. You can totally apply most of these concepts to your relationships too. This is really about how to decenter from anyone but yourself. Stay until the end for step 10 because I'm going to give you reframes that you can repeat in front of the mirror as a morning rewiring habit to decenter him or her and center yourself. So let's go from the top. What is decentering and what it's actually not? Decentering doesn't mean hating men, okay? Doesn't mean you never want love again. It doesn't mean becoming a stone cold independent woman who never cries, never dates, without needing men, without being in relationships and completely detaches from men. Absolutely not. We love men, we want men, but they should be a want, not a must. It means putting you back in the center of your world. It means you stop organizing your life around being chosen. You stop treating their attention, male attention, like oxygen. Decentering is about reclaiming your joy and goals and energy and wholeness. So we've been taught being chosen by a man is the biggest achievement, right? Being married is unlocking a whole new level of life. Being single or having a divorce means you failed. Something is wrong with you. So here in Sicily, if you're single and 30 years old, not married, not even really dating or in a relationship, there's still this weird thing hanging in the air, like you've missed the boat. People are silently wondering, like, what's wrong with her? Just mainly for women, right? Typical. And when relationships end, divorce, breakups, heartbreaks, it's seen as this heavy, painful failure that takes years of therapy to recover from. And even therapy is still something a little bit that you shouldn't really talk about. Like the worst case scenario, the black hole of a womanhood. But so no wonder your subconscious brain still clings so hard onto the idea that we want to be chosen, we want to be wanted by the man, we want to get married, and having families is this biggest achievement of our lives. So we're kind of being trained since childhood, be chosen or be nothing. So now if you have been anxiously attached, it even gets more ingrained. You've probably made your partner your entire world. It feels safe to orbit around them, to schedule everything around your partner, what your partner wants to do. If you're planning your weekend, you're always thinking about your partner first versus of what you actually want to do. You've been taught your worth depends on their approval. You stay in the relationship longer than you maybe should. You become who they need instead of staying you. You shrink so they don't leave you. You overgive constantly so you feel good enough, even if you have to sacrifice your needs, your identity, parts of yourself, your wants and desires and goals. If they don't text back, it doesn't just feel like a delayed reply, it feels like an abandonment. It feels like something deeply personal to you. And your brain links being chosen to survival. Let's talk about some signs that you really centered your partner too much. Let's break it down into 3 categories. Signs you've centered them in your life in general. First, you stop prioritizing your own needs. Everything revolves around his schedule or her schedule rather than your own schedule. Another sign is you cancel plans with friends or family to be available for your partner. Another sign is you spend more time wondering how he's feeling than checking in with yourself first. Let's talk about some signs about your dating life, how this can show up if you decenter your partner or your man in your life too much. First, you wait by your phone, hoping he will text first, feeling a rush of relief when he finally does. You constantly adjust your vibe based on how he's acting. You even become always kind of a different version depending on who you date. You compromise on what you want in the relationship to keep the peace, never rock the boat. And now here are a few signs that you're centering them in romantic relationships too much. First, you rely on his validation to feel worthy or good enough. Second is you lose sight of who you are outside the relationship. His needs come always first. Or you feel like you've always lost yourself and can't remember your boundaries or your values before the relationship. Another sign is also you stop doing the things that fully fill your cup, as if taking care of yourself is kind of selfish or doesn't give you the fulfillment that your partner actually does. If this sounds familiar, don't worry, I've got you. It's completely okay. We all fall for this and it's time to unlearn this, one micro habit at a time. So, 10 ways to decenter men in romantic relationships. Let's go. First, be the main character in your life, in your romantic relationships. You are the main lead in your life, not the side character. Act like it. Close your eyes for a second and picture your life as a Netflix series. What is it called? Is it called The Healing Area, Season 3? Or is it something like Anxious Annie, The Overthinking Years? Sounds cringy, but if you title this, it becomes even more clear of what your next chapter is going to look like. Now let's zoom in. What's the next title of the next episode is going to be called? The chapter where she finally chooses herself, or how she stopped waiting for his text to take her power back, or maybe is it still called The Endless Chase? You are not the background character anymore. You're the lead. Always have been. You just forgotten about it. You were just too scared to embody that version of yourself. But do you want to live in fear, or do you want to realize you only have one life? At least that's what I believe in. So ask yourself, what would I do? What would she do? Would I still let his mood decide mine? Would I keep shrinking my needs? Second, make micro moves towards to prove that you are the lead. Go to cafes alone if you feel like it. Speak up even when your voice shakes, or if you feel like you have something to say. Wear something that makes you feel good in your body. And then live this truth. I'm not waiting to be chosen. I already am chosen. I can choose myself every day, every moment. When you move like the main character in your life, because you are, you stop overperforming for scraps. You stop editing yourself for this comfort, to stop hoping he picks you, you pick you, and the whole storyline changes. You're not waiting for her anymore. You're remembering she's already you. Second, pain rewiring is a method that rewires your brain to become the secure version of yourself. So your brain is wired to avoid pain more than pleasure. You've got to show your brain how painful it is to keep centering your man. So otherwise it will keep running that old pattern, because it will think it's safer. Because your brain doesn't care about happiness, it cares about if you are safe. So try this. Journal 10 painful truths that happen when you center a man. What does it cost you to center a man? For example, I abandon myself when I center a man. I lose my voice. I feel anxious, waiting for them to come to me. I say yes when I actually want to say no. I shrink myself to avoid conflict. I put their needs over my own needs. I stop making time for myself. I forget my own dreams and hopes and desires and passions. I get snappy and very resentful towards my partner. I betray what I really want. And you can give very hyper-specific scenarios that you can remember what happened actually in your relationship, what happened during the day, during the week, during the past year, what happened when you centered your partner or your man in your life. So the more emotions you can feel, the more pain you can feel, the faster you will rewire your brain for this. The more clear you are on the costs of the painful stories, the more your brain will start to protect you from this. So pain can be very powerful in this way when it's honest. So what is one painful truth your brain needs to see today? So 3, the root of anxious attachment is actually not that you are fearing that your partner might leave. The actual fear is that you can't handle the pain if they leave. There's a difference. So how do you change this? You build evidence that you can handle it. I can feel things and I can survive it. The more you show up for yourself, the less you cling onto someone else to hold you when things are not working in your favor. I learned this the hard way. My partner used to joke that every time he was better off without me when he felt a little bit trapped or overwhelmed. And I knew at the time, because I was avoided attached and I did so much work on myself already, that was his sign of protecting himself. But it still wasn't sitting right with me the more he did this. So I told him, you know what? If you don't want to be with me, that's okay. But I need to choose myself. So if you ever change your mind and if you don't want to choose me, that's okay. Just let me know. And in that moment, I realized I didn't need to cling on to my relationship or onto my partner. I have to choose myself first. I don't have to put him as the center of my world. And if it would end today, I would be okay. Because I had been through heartbreak before and I've survived this. I've got myself. I didn't want someone who just was there out of a habit. I wanted honesty and transparency. If he didn't want me, that was okay. But I wanted him to speak his truth. I was clearly saying, I want someone who chooses me and wants to be with me. And ever since that moment, it changed completely the dynamic between us because he realized I wasn't holding him hostage, because that's what often avoidant attachment thinks. So don't force him to stay with you. Give him the chance to open up about his feelings as well, by the way. And for me, it was really about trusting myself. It was about self-trust, that I can handle whatever is to come next. The more you show up for yourself, the more you build self-trust. You don't need someone else to hold you. You've got yourself. And before I go to the next point, I want to share something with you. If you're listening and thinking, that's me, I do tend to put him at the center of my world and lose touch within myself. Listen up. I created something that would have helped me years ago when I was spiraling over text and I was obsessively checking my phone over and over again. So when you feel anxious and wondering, did I say something too much? Is he putting away? Should I have waited to text him? Why did they say this and that? This course walks you through how to calm your body and mind when you're obsessively checking for what they have said. It shifts the focus back onto you and not on your partner or what they have said or should have said, because it's not about your partner. It's not about the text. It's not about them. It's about you and your anxious brain and your anxious attachment style. You have a need for certainty and safety, and you're trying to get this fulfilled through your partner. It's not your partner's job to make you feel certain, to make you feel loved. It's your job. So if you're done waiting for your partner to change his behaviors, they probably won't. But the good news is you can change how you see the situation and stop overthinking this way. So the link's in the show notes or below the YouTube video. So now let's continue. 4, be obsessed with yourself, your little quirks and your joy and your rituals, your favorite coffee, your weird voice notes or your playlist. The more you're obsessed with you, the less you need them to remind you of your worth. I started noticing these things that make me smile about myself. The way I cry over advertisement, the way I'm super hypersensitive, the things that I used to hate about myself, now I really love about myself. They make me special and unique. Or the way I romanticize everything in life. And celebrating them has becoming a form of self-acceptance and self-love. And I don't need external validation in this way anymore. It's always nice as an add-on, but I don't need them to be obsessed with me if I'm already obsessed with myself. And everything else is just a great addition on top. So ask yourself, what is the one thing you're obsessed with yourself already you can focus on more instead of focusing on all the flaws you're usually obsessed with. 5, be obsessed with your life, your friends, your hobbies, your fitness goals, your business dreams. Buy a calendar, fill it out with joy and excitement. Stop waiting for his plans to plan your life. I lived in London and Sicily, and what I've realized is it's never about the place. While others complain so many times in London about the weather, that was exactly the thing I'm actually missing right now about London. Going for long walks, especially with my partner, having coffee breaks in Starbucks, coffee and pub culture. But now in Sicily, while I'm here, I'm really appreciating all the other things that London doesn't have to offer, like swimming in the sea 8, 9, 10 months out of the year, paddleboarding and all of these things. So you have to learn to be obsessed with what you have right now in life. Be grateful for the areas you have and don't just wish your life would be different. Be obsessed with your life and then build towards goals and dreams you don't have yet. But don't forget the gratitude in that of what you have right now. Romanticizing your life isn't just about where you are right now. It's about how you show up for yourself wherever you are. So where are you feeling out of alignment right now? Pick one thing in each area that feels off and take one small action to just restore harmony and bring more wholeness into your life. And just romanticize maybe the small areas in your life, no matter if it's going for a walk, working from home, anything that you feel a little bit icky about, you can romanticize and turn it into something magical. Number 6 is showing up for yourself consistently, even when you're sad, even when you're spiraling, even when you don't feel like it, because we anxious attached girlies have been raised with inconsistent care and love and security. Let's not repeat this again for ourselves, okay? So I'm generally proud of how I've shown up really consistently every week, publishing 2 podcast episodes since I've ever published my podcast. First audio and then later on videos on YouTube. So this has been such a challenge for me personally, because I used to be so incredible inconsistent in my life in all areas as an ex-anxious attachment. And the key is really healing this wound is providing yourself the consistent love, care, security, validation, warmth, you name it. And that leads us to the point to number 7, give yourself what you crave from him. This is how you really decenter from your partner. So give yourself what you crave from him, maybe validation or reassurance, to feel chosen, seen and loved. You can give to yourself first, and anything from him becomes just like an extra, not a survival strategy. When I decided I don't want to go back into a 9-to-5 job after the company went bankrupt and I wanted to create my own business, my parents' disapproval felt very crushing. It was very hard for me. I desperately craved their validation for my choices, and them asking every time we were on the phone calling, so how's it going? How long are you going to do this for? Try this for? Felt very like that they were not believing in me and my plans and my goals and my ability. But this was the beginning of my journey to really validate myself when no one else except my partner and my sister would believe in me. Now I understand that even people who love you, they don't see you through your lenses. They don't have your experiences, your thoughts, your emotions. They are not you. So they can't validate you or make the decision for you. You have to put yourself first. You have to validate yourself and make the decision for yourself. Because in the end, you will regret it if they have disagreed with you and you followed their lead. So you can't be mad at them if they're giving advice from their own lens and their own experience and their own maybe limiting beliefs. Number 8 is becoming independently, because that's very important as well. If you want to heal your anxious attachment style and if you want to decenter from men, because often you outsource your needs to men emotionally or other needs. For example, a few months ago, and even weeks ago, I had to go to the pharmacy here in Sicily, and I don't speak Italian yet, even though I'm trying a lot, but it takes for me such a long time until I really learn a language. So my first instinct was to wait for my partner to come with me to the pharmacy, let him handle the talk, let him handle this. But then I paused and asked myself, what would the secure version of me do? The one who's very confident and wouldn't care about anything else, would overthink things, would be very independent. And I would know exactly, like, she wouldn't wait for her partner to do things for her. She would just take initiative and just wouldn't overthink things. So I knew what I had to do. I just thought, what is the worst thing that can happen here? And I thought maybe that they don't understand me, I don't understand them, that I have to come back later, that my phone dies, or that the mobile data doesn't work with the translation app, and that's it. And basically, in short, a very uncomfortable emotion that I would have to handle in that way. And that's why processing emotions and learning to handle discomfort is such a big part of healing your anxious attachment style as well. Because in the worst case, what can happen is you feel an uncomfortable emotion. And that's exactly what happened. I went there, my heartbeat was so strong, I felt so anxious. But when I did it, I've done it, and I was so proud of myself. I felt this huge relief afterwards, and it was really not a big deal. It was just that my physical sensations were so strong because I felt so anxious. But ever since this moment, it was easier and easier every time I did it. So you don't have to become 100% independent overnight. You just have to prove to yourself one task at a time that I can handle things. I can sit with my uncomfortable feelings and emotions. I don't need to wait for someone else to rescue me. This is what really decentering man looks like in tiny moments, building this self-trust muscle, one pharmacy visit at a time. What is one small thing you started doing on your own that gave you a confidence boost? How can you do this more often in your relationship? And what are areas you feel like you're still depending on your partner? And number 9 is rewiring with possibilities instead of pain. So this is similar as what we did before, but this time we want to envision possibilities and pleasure. You want to envision what happens when you stop this pattern. This is how you rewrite your future. So when you decenter man, you're shifting your entire reality from waiting to creating, from shrinking to expanding, from what if I lose him to what if I find myself. So how does this work? Your brain is like a filter. Whatever you believe, it will find evidence for. What you believe, you will receive. That's why if you believe you are too much, you will notice every time someone pulls away from you, even in slightest, tiniest moments. If you believe men are always going to leave you, your body will embrace for abandonment even during the sweetest moments. If you believe your worth is based on how he feels, you will stay glued to his moods or texts. This is like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You're not making it up, but you are accidentally recreating it. And this is what an anxious attachment style can do. But now the good news is you can create new prophecies. You can change and choose your new beliefs on purpose and then break off the old habits. You can choose beliefs that work for you, not against you, because what you believe, you receive. So start making a list of 10 amazing things that could happen when you decenter men from your life, from your relationship, from your dating life. And this could sound like you stop spiraling over text and start sleeping through the night. You finally feel free to go to a cafe or a pharmacy or a trip alone and feel so proud and relieved afterwards. Or you glow differently, you feel magnetic because your energy is no longer leaking into, will he choose me? What did this mean? Why hasn't he? And accepting breadcrumbs. You come home to a space of that feels like yours. You wear red lipstick for you and not for him. Or you will go to the gym because it makes you feel good, not because of your partner to impress them. to impress other people out of fear, but out of motivation. And you stop asking, does he still want me? And start asking, do I even want this? And then you can record these to yourself. You can read them out to yourself out loud, which reinforces the pattern. You can record them and listen to them every morning and night, because let your nervous system hear this repeatedly. Let your body feel it every time. Feel the new possibilities. This is how you rewire your nervous system and center yourself. So which belief are you going to start feeding your brain today? Let me know in the YouTube comments. And number 10, choose a mantra that reclaims really you. Let it anchor. For example, repeat over and over again, I go first, or I'm whole, I don't need a man to complete me, being love is the cherry on top, I'm the whole cake. And if negative limiting thoughts pop up in your head during the day, that's okay. You can simply reframe it to I was always whole. He just mirrored parts of me. Or I'm obsessed with him to how can I obsess with myself more? Or from I can't lose him to it might hurt, but it won't end me. Or he's the best thing that ever happened to me versus he's just a chapter, not the whole damn book. From he makes me feel safe to I'm the anchor now. I can make myself feel safe. From no one will ever love me like him to the right love won't need me to shrink. So if you want to do this with me as a little centering audit exercise, you can do this for 1 week. So how often do you think about his needs versus your own needs first? Write this down. Another thing you can track is how often you're abandoning your needs for his needs. And track also how often you ask for his opinion before turning to your own needs. Again, actions create results. Follow the 10 steps I've mentioned above. If you're not sure where to start, you can start with this exercise. If you track this, you get so much more clarity about what's actually going on in your relationship and how often are you putting yourself last and him first. Awareness is step 1, then shift into tiny habits and choose one of the 10 habits we just talked about. 1% change every day. That's all it takes to rewire your brain and your mind every day to become more securely attached. Decentering man doesn't mean giving up on love or man. It means making you the center of your life. And that's when love shows up for you. It doesn't consume you. It complements you. You don't need to shrink to be loved. You don't need to hustle to be wanted. You are the whole damn thing. I hope you loved this episode, and remember, you're not too much, you're not behind, you're not broken, you're just learning to put you first again, and that is the most beautiful comeback of all. And I'll see you next time. Remember, change in your relationship starts with you, thought by thought, action by action, and our episode by episode. Lots of love. Bye bye, Lila.